Untold Assam, the series that brings you the inspiring stories of Assamese living abroad.
I've always dreamt of traveling since I was a little kid. I thought education was overrated and I wanted to do something else. So I actually dropped out. I haven't been the most studious, so I barely managed to scrape through engineering at IIM. You take a lot of pain, a lot of risk. It's not smooth when you look back. But when you look back, do you remember all the hardship? There's a rule in the markets and investing. It's very simple. When the fact came, I changed my thesis. What motivates you? Do you have inspiration? Is there some purpose in you that you want to fulfill? I would take a motivated employee over a brilliant employee, right? All else equal, any day.
Today's guest is Chirantan Barua. He grew up in Namrup, Assam. Today, he is the CEO of Scottish Widows, one of Scotland's top financial companies. As CEO, he manages a company serving over 10 million customers. His journey from Assam to the top has been remarkable, but far from easy. From quitting high-paying jobs to facing financial challenges, he has seen it all. His experiences make his story truly special and with many valuable lessons to take away. Welcome, Chirantan Barua. Chirantan, thank you so much for your time. It's an absolute pleasure to have you, and I really, really appreciate your time.
Not at all. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Hira.
Tumi Dangor হৈছে অসমৰ নামৰূপত. And today you are the CEO of Scottish Widows, which is a life insurance and pensions company. The company, I think, has over 10 million customers. And you are the CEO of that company with over 12,000 employees. কিন্তু মোৰ এনেকুৱা লাগে তুমি যেতিয়া নামৰূপত ডাঙৰ হৈ আছিলা, অসমত ডাঙৰ হৈ আছিলা, চাগে এনেকে ভবা নাছিলা যে এদিন এটা major financial institutioner CEO হবা. How was your childhood like?
I was definitely not dreaming about becoming Scottish Widows CEO. Didn't put no. So now what's the big ambition? I think if I look back, the big ambition was one day to go to Guwahati. Remember? That was the big ambition at that time. Namrup, I have to call out HFC Modern School. That is where I went. Loved it. I had a bunch of very loyal friends. We were up to no good. We were not as sophisticated as people like you in Guwahati, where we're much more rustic, if you will. But it was solid fun. And this is why I say for kids, we shouldn't complicate stuff. Like, let's not put ambition into their heads. Let them enjoy where they are. No, I had super fun in Namrup. And the only thing I did dream was of traveling. I've always dreamt of traveling since I was a little kid. I used to find every excuse to read up stuff which was outside of Assam at the time, because that was a big thing, like, life outside Assam, but also internationally.
I mean, of course, traveling, you said that can be a big thing, to shape your ambition, but there are other things also, like, wanting to fulfill parents' dreams, want for them to have a better life, all of that. But sometimes there are experiences that actually push you to do better. Do you remember of any of those experiences, maybe that if you look back feels like maybe those moments shaped me and my ambitions?
If I look back, there are kind of three stages where there was a significant shift in ambition, right? And it helped me as catalyst. These are life catalysts that God throws you. You can't plan for it. I think the first was when we moved from Namrup to Guwahati. তেতিয়া প্ৰথম যেতিয়া ডন বস্কোত আহিছিলোঁ, খুব দিগদাৰী লাগিছিল নহয়, কাৰণ Namrup is a very small place. It's quite rustic. মোৰ এতিয়া মনত আছে, there are small memories that you always leave. So প্ৰথমতে ডন বস্কোত আহি টাই পিন্ধিব লগা হৈছিল। তাই পিন্ধিব লগা হৈছিল, I felt like, someone was grabbing me by the throat. I was not used to it. It was very difficult. কোনোবাই সুধিছে, oh, you're the guy from Namrup. How come you speak English? So why কেনেকৈ প্ৰশ্ন কৰিছে? So it was very difficult, right? And your parents really helped you out. My mom really helped me up with that. So that was kind of a moment where you wanted to show people like you, the Guwahatians, right, that I was made of sterner stuff. And then I became a Guwahatian. So that was stage one. The second thing I have to say, and I have to call out, my mom won't like it, and parents or kids won't like it. I actually dropped out when I was in Cotton College in the last year. I thought education was overrated, and I wanted to do something else. So I actually dropped out. I'm not sure my mom would want to call that out. This is not a great moment. But then 1 year where I, reflected a lot and I came back into the educational fold, that was a big learning year. It gave me a lot of gumption, a lot of determination to fight back. And we all do stupid mistakes when we are kids. And that was kind of the second one, which gave me enough energy to go the next level. And then the third one was in Bombay. And it was in Bombay, and I was working for this bank. I got a bit bored of life, and it was not exactly a midlife crisis. I was, I think, 29, 30 at the time. I didn't like the job at all. I felt like I was just doing the morals and just going through the drills. And I had made some strong choices. It was not working out. That is when I decided to go abroad. Yeah. And I decided to go abroad quite late. I went to, one of the best business schools in the world called INSEAD in Paris. And when I went there, I was 31. People go there when they're 25. I was by far one of the older ones. And I still remember this French lady walking up to me and saying, oh, it's very unlikely you'll get a job after INSEAD. I was like, oh my God, I've taken a massive loan. And then you can't get a job. It'll be tough. But that gave me the extra push and the extra energy. So I think those three, you could have never planned for it. I'm not telling, kids around who are listening to this to drop out of their second year in Cotton College. I'm not saying that. I'll make a lot of enemies with moms and dads. But again, those were life-changing moments, I think. Let's call it gap year. Yeah. Let's not call it dropout. I realized coming to the UK, it's posh. In a posh way, it's called a gap year. I did a gap year.
So gap year means we are saying you just didn't appear for the exam that year. You wanted to take a gap. All right. That's great.
That's a deal. Yeah. Please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So what I wanted to know from all the studies that you have done, all the qualifications you have acquired, because I think you have done your degree in chemical engineering. You said you have done your MBA from INSEAD in France. You have also done, I think, PGDM from IIM Lucknow. So now that you look back, try to connect the dots, do you think all those qualifications have helped you in your professional success, or do you think it was more useful at the beginning of the career?
That's an interesting. You know how I respond to the question when people ask me in town halls, and I said, I'm not as bright as you, so I'm quite useless. So which means that I had to keep on studying to get to the next level. But going back to your question, all of that, I'm sure, all this education helped. You don't need so many. I mean, I have so many friends here who did their undergrad and run big companies, run big asset management firms, and they did their undergrad. As I said, they were brighter and luckier. Those are the two things that you need that way, and we had to go on. Education definitely helps all across. But the two, I think, out of all those long list of places that I went to, the two that absolutely kind of transformed me, I had to call out Don Bosco Guwahati. Because I did Don Bosco that it was completely new, right? Like, so Namrupon আমি অসমীয়াতে পঢ়িছিলো to get the Don Bosco English up, and then as I said, it taught me how to wear a tie, and I still wear a tie, right? Sometimes. So that was a different education level, which was great. And INSEAD was absolutely off the charts. It was I'm not the most studious person. Let's put it that way. Since class 10, I haven't been the most studious. So barely managed to scrape through engineering and IIM. Yeah, IIM, I met my wife, so which was, well worth it. Forget the education part. But INSEAD was, I loved INSEAD. It's the most practical application of academics. I'm a thoroughbred capitalist. So where I could deploy it, I loved INSEAD. In fact, when my wife came around and she said, is this the same Chirantan, right? Like, so because Iman Pohakuna Koramu Ketio Dakhanai, INSEAD was brilliant. It was a very intense 1 year.
It almost feels like when you are saying about Don Bosco and INSEAD, almost like when you are in an uncomfortable environment, which is not so familiar, that's where almost you grew. And that's where, like you said, your wife said it's a different Chirantan. So I think that's where the transformation happened. And that's something so many leaders say that, to be able to be easy in an uncomfortable environment is what pushes you. And I think that's exactly you have said. You have come a long way, right? I mean, from what you are saying, from refinery time to today, being the CEO of a company of over 12,000 employees. What sort of work did you have to put in this process of transitioning from the boy from Assam to becoming the CEO of a global corporate company? Ki dhৰণৰ কাম নিজৰ ওপৰত কৰিবলগীয়া হৈছে?
Yeah, I think I would be lying if I say that there was not hard work. But don't take it that it was a slog all throughout. It's not like you got to slog in every day. It's not like I didn't have fun. It's not like I traveled around the world stuff. But when you make your big moves, there is no excuse. Then you'll have to slog. The first time you move to Guwahati, of course you'll have to slog. It's a whole new environment. Getting into those Gothic architecture in Don Bosco gave me the creeps from being in an open school with forest next door in Namrup, which was very green. That architecture, I was claustrophobic, right? And so, of course, you'll have to work hard. I'm more kind of apply korte. You have to work hard. You have to work hard. London and I joined McKinsey, which is the world's best consulting firm. And I thought it was definitely a type 2 error, right? When they recruited me. So you're with the best in the world, and you have to be the best with the best in the world at the time when you compete. There you can't go back and say, oh, more work-life balance lage, more tini ghanta guitar bajole khomoy lage. No. Like for the first 1.5 years, it's slog. But then it eases off, right? Because you learn and then you go with the tide. So I think when you make career transition, geographical changes, personal circumstance changes, you got to buckle up and then learn how to ease off, right? Mm-hmm. So when you get in the mode. So I think, does it make sense? So it's not a constant path. It's peaks and troughs that it comes up.
No, it absolutely does. It really absolutely does. Because, I mean, geographical change is not just change of location, is it? It's so many things, from communication to, like you said, Guwahati, Ohio was like a big deal, right? Think about coming to the UK. Everything is so different. And then you leading so many people, because the leadership style is so different. So that 1.5 years that you spoke about, that's when you adapt, you learn, you slog, and then you probably ease out, because by now you have figured out things. So yeah, absolutely, it does make sense. But you spoke about McKinsey, and I think you were the managing director there, and then you became the partner. And then I
was a partner at McKinsey. I was a managing director at a place called Bernstein, which was a different one. Yeah.
All right. And then you also worked for HSBC as the global head of strategy.
Correct.
So all these different leadership positions that you have held before becoming a CEO, what are some of the skills that you think has really helped you, or, kind of to rise to those leadership positions? And probably I would like some practical tips if you have figured out what must have helped you to get to the leadership positions.
Yeah, more kick bully more kick. There's nothing when you're sitting in a boardroom and you're haggling. There's a mergers and acquisition situation. You're selling something, you're buying something, you're looking at resource allocation. Your ability to rattle off numbers quickly is absolutely a brilliant skill, whether you're in technology, whether you're in consumer goods, whether you're in financial services. Just what we're doing right now, which is speaking, right? So people look at lots of academics, which is important, but I think it's very important to know how to write well, and which I'm sure here you do, and everyone in media does, and people who speak well, right? So this communication skills is massive. You can be the most intelligent person. If you can't communicate, there's only as much as you can do in life. We're constantly communicating. So communication is a super life-saving skill. So that is, and the third one is, in your life, you're always betting. You're always choosing not to do stuff. And you're over-indexing. In its simplest form, it is betting. It's taking risk, choosing one subject over the other, choosing one path over the other, refusing a job offer, which would pay you 30% more tomorrow, playing the long game, or maybe taking that offer. You're taking decisions all the time. So those are very important decisions, I think. So that's a skill that we should encourage in everyone, to take risk.
মৌখিকত সকলো ল'ৰা ছোৱালী ভাল নহয়. You'd always hear some of them saying, অংক নোৱাৰো, right? And then there are some people who would say, he went to an English medium school, he was bright, he went to the best places for him to be good at communication. Bahirole ahise, bahut bhal asile. So it is easier to be good at communication, easier to be good in maths. Risk-taking titia has your confidence. Ki koba?
Luck is a very, very, very important factor to what we do in life. Yeah. So I'm sure I have loads of friends who are way more talented than me, right? And I've met them along the journey. But it doesn't mean that where I am, and if they haven't made the journey, they're less happy. Probably they're more happy. So this is all relative. Gotnot jodi tumi drop kora, I still remember, right, to the drop kora, then you'll have to give your practical exams along with people who dropped over 4 or 5 years. Yeah. I still remember going for my chemistry practical lab. And the teacher saying, মই খুঁজছো 30 নম্বৰ ভিতৰত দিব নহয়। তাৰপিছত কৈছে যে নহয়, তোমালোক ড্ৰপ কৰা, কোনেও 30 নাপায়। Listen, for someone who is ambitious and who made a mistake and is wanting to get back, to be told when you go to the exam that I'm not giving you a 30 on 30, it hurts. Yeah, it definitely hurts. So it's not like life has been super smooth. My stuff in Bombay, when I was doing that before I went to INSEAD, I was going through a really bad phase. I didn't like my job. It was extremely stressful. I had backaches all around, saying, what am I doing with life? It was very difficult. And out came INSEAD. INSEAD would have never happened if I would have kept on doing well in the job. It was a struggle and I wanted a desperate break. But instead of taking a break, I said, let's hit higher and take some risk. It was a massive risky call. So, সেইখিনি বাহিৰ পঢ়িবলৈ আমি যেতিয়া কৈছিলোঁ তেতিয়া student loan নাছিল. There was no student loan, right? So I had 2 of my very good friends help me out. And it is with their finances that I went to INSEAD along with scholarship. So I had carried a huge emotional burden when I went in. There was a high pressure point. And there's no course correction because it's a 1-year course, right? So either you make it or you don't make it. So you take a lot of pain, a lot of risk. It's not smooth when you look back. But when you look back, do you remember all the hardships? No, I don't. Yes. I don't. I just remember the joyride, right? And that's what life should be. All of us go through really bad times in life. But I think what's important is, you remember the good times. You thank your luck. And you give it your 100% and you go from there. So I think that's where it's not smooth. So those who are bad times, you speak to me and I'll tell you how bad times were at different times in my career. But hey, God deals you a good hand.
Wonderful. you have touched upon something which I was going to ask you about the Mumbai time. তুমি যেনেকে ক'লা ইমান চাকৰি কৰি বেয়া লাগিল, চাকৰি এৰি ফ্ৰেণ্ডছৰ ফাইনেন্সৰ হেল্পত তুমি আহি পঢ়িছা. It's a big risk. I have seen that, with my experience of interviewing people don't always talk about their obstacles, hurdles, difficulties, the times in the career when it felt like everything is falling apart, they're quite stagnant. Manhe kom koi like experience or kotha, but I feel like it's so refreshing because all of us go through that at some point in our career, in our life. So these discussions are so wonderful to know that everybody goes through that, and most of the times it's not rosy. Is that what you just said, right? It's mostly not rosy.
People get to see the cake at the end of it, but they don't know that there were 3 burnt cakes which came before it. And then before you got to that really juicy, beautiful piece that you saw, I think that is what we don't see. It's important to tell them that.
Because you have been in leadership positions for some time now, do you find yourself changing your thoughts constantly? And I say it in a very positive way, like something that you didn't believe in or you believed in 5 years, 10 years ago that you no longer believe in. And that can be about leadership, success, and life in general.
That's a great question, Hira. I learned this is why I tell people, so I've done lots of things, right? So been worked in industry, been a consultant, be an investor, then come back into management. So I think the 7 years that I spent at Bernstein, there's a rule in the markets in investing. It's very simple. When the facts change, I change my thesis. Yeah. So you buy a stock based on certain facts, and then you tell everyone that, I have bought the stock. I bought Lloyd's Banking Group, and based on the facts. But facts are not fixed. They change. The market changes, circumstances changes. If they change, there's zero shame in changing your opinion. Yeah. Bad decision. I made my mistake. I cut my losses. I'm out. I do that all the time.
Look at a career banabo bisarise banking and finance sector, and it's a hot sector, right? Everybody thinks you make it if you're in this sector. If they find you as a mentor, ki koba egoraki mentor hisabe?
I've always said 3 things, right? Like, take a lot of risk. And lots of risk no way. Don't take sakuri to like then you see my career. Of course I'll say that. Like, I love taking risks, and it's a risk, but without risk there's no reward. Yeah. So take a lot of risk. What are you doing which is uncomfortable? If everything is comfortable, then you're not stretching yourself enough, right? Take a lot of risk. The second thing that I say is work hard, right? There are lots of people who come back to me and say, finance or long hours, I say. So investment banking supposed to become corporate. Investment banking, by definition, initially when you start, the work hours are very, very long. You're talking 80, 90-hour weeks. 80, 90-hour weeks means right? But that's how it is for 3.5 years. So if you want to be there, you've got to work hard. Otherwise, don't be in that sector, because it's not the be-all and end-all to deny. So that's the second. The third thing that I say is always find good mentors. Yeah, life is tough. You need our mentors, not in an artificial way. Your mentor could be a dad, could be a mom, could be a husband or wife, or I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I go to my son, my 13-year-old son. He gives me really good tips. Yeah. So in terms of saying, so you need mentors along the way, and understand all along that you need a healthy dose of luck. But luck comes to those who try. If you don't try, if you don't bet, then there's no reward, right? So luck's not going to happen. So those are the 3 things that I tell most people who come looking for me. There's no silver bullet.
Wonderful. Yeah, some really good tips there. Is that what you look for when you are in a recruitment panel? Because throughout your career, I'm sure you have been recruiting people? What stands out for you? Are there some of these things?
Well spotted. I'll of course look for the talent for the job, right? Like as you do that, like which is technical skills that you require. I will take motivation over intelligence most days. Yeah. So what motivates you? Do you have inspiration? Is there some purpose in you that you want to fulfill? I would take a motivated employee over a brilliant employee, right? All else equal, any day, right? Because we work hard and long nowadays. Gone are the days you work 5-6 hours, right? Like, so if you don't enjoy your job, if you're not ready to, give it all, if you're not ambitious, then even if you're very intelligent, I've not been able to capitalize on that intelligence, right? So that's why that's super keen for me.
Before you go, is there anything that you would like to say that we haven't covered so far?
No, this has been a therapy. You've gone through the whole. I haven't thought through my life. Yeah, take a lot of risk, work hard, and you will get opportunities. And no, it's all easier than you think once you get there. It's tough, but when you get to the positions and you get stuff, it's way easier than everyone told you to. So keep working, keep challenging. That's what I wanted. That's the only message that I want to send across.
Thank you so much. I think, this has been so wonderful. Thank you for the conversation. Living and working here in the UK myself, I know being the CEO of a company with 12,000 employees is more than meets the eye. I wish you all the best, and thank you again for your time.
Thanks a lot, Ira. Thank you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.